In rural counties across Kentucky, tobacco greenhouses sit unused and overgrown with weeds, a visible reminder of the 2002 federal tobacco settlement that enabled farmers to transition to new crops. For Steve Moses, local cattle farmer and community leader involved in health issues, himself a former tobacco farmer, these greenhouses were more than a relic of days gone by. They were an opportunity.
Here in Harrison County, there is so much tobacco that's not grown anymore, and there's so many greenhouses around that's just gone kaput, and they're just sitting out in the fields deteriorating. I thought of the idea of let's go and see if we can talk to the farmers, local farmers, and see if they would be willing to give us the greenhouses if we moved them off their property and cleaned it up to a different location, and that's the way we come up with the idea of having a greenhouse at every school. They have a tendency in all school systems that they are not as close to the land as when I came through school and a lot of other people. They really don't know about growing. Their hands have not been in the dirt, and that's where I learned was getting my hands in the dirt and getting my hands in the water and being muddy. It's a lot of hard work and sweat to put everything that I've done through my life and to help everybody else that I know of get the chance to be physically fit better through eating fruits and vegetables that's grown locally close to the farms as possible, because they're fresh. You get all the nutrients out of them.
Mr. Moses came to me and we talked a little bit about the greenhouse, and he kind of knew about the construction part of it, and I knew what I wanted to teach the kids. So he and I came together, and so I told him to put the 3 picnic tables in the center because I want this to be a working classroom.
School is out for the summer, and science teacher Judy Clevenger and 2 young volunteers are surveying the remains of the spring planting. Though many of the plants have died, teacher Clevenger is not dismayed. The potential for valuable lessons is everywhere.
So I want to teach the kids about space. And they know, well, plants need water and they need sunlight, but they don't always know that they need a space and the right temperature.
The greenhouses are providing students a chance to learn about science, nutrition, and economics. Food grown in the greenhouse will be used in the classroom and sold by students at the local farmers market. But the overall goal is improved health.
I'd love to see them in there working it. Kids that go out and learn how to grow, and they learn how to prepare their food, they're more apt to eat more different things than they are if they have no clue of how to do it. The ulterior motive is produce fruits and vegetables that are good for you and you can eat and not worry about heart disease, which is rampant here in this area, plus cancer, plus diabetes.
In the end, this story is about what can happen when someone marries vision and action.
Community members like Mr. Moses are just essential to helping us grow as a community. It just means the world to us that somebody would take that initiative, and he's given up a lot of his time, to take care of us. It'll be used, so much more, and it's all because one citizen in our community just took an initiative to help a child, and it just dominoes, and we're all reaping the benefits of that.
When lifelong Muhlenberg County resident Felix Martin died, he had amassed a fortune of over $50 million. Having no heirs, his parting gift was to create a foundation intended solely for the benefit of Muhlenberg County. With the help of experts from the Community Foundation of Louisville, the board of the Felix E. Martin Jr. Foundation established an agenda with a transformational focus.
When we helped the board of the Felix E. Martin Jr. Foundation become formed, we knew that there was different approaches we could take to addressing the needs of Muhlenberg County. You could take a very grassroots approach and make community grants and address the small problems in what would be called downstream, which would be more charitable giving, or you could kind of focus on things from the higher levels, which would be upstream. You're going upstream to address the source of the problem instead of just treating the symptoms. And so we've kind of taken the approach of both methods, but we're focusing more than half of our money every year on real upstream investments, transformational projects.
The foundation conducted an exhaustive needs assessment in the community, and 2 critical areas rose to the surface: economic development and youth services.
The current state of youth services is if the schools don't offer it or the churches don't offer it, there's not much else in between. There used to be a bowling alley, but it has since closed down. So if the kids want something different, there's a movie theater, but otherwise they have to go to Bowling Green or to Owensboro, and we all know we don't want a 16-year-old new driver hitting the road to those cities, you know, late at night. Some of the cities have very small parks that haven't been maintained over the years and are in real disrepair. The city of Central City has a pool that was built in 1935 by the WPA, and up until last summer it was in operations.
We have little leagues all over the community, but the lights don't work or the ballpark's overgrown. So when it all boiled down to a nutshell, what we needed was a consolidated parks and recreation community.
Though still in the planning stages, the foundation is looking at developing exciting, enticing venues like water parks and skate parks, things that have proven successful in other communities. Mr. Martin's resources permit these ambitious aims. But other communities in Kentucky can benefit from the kind of planning, coordination, and civic engagement they've harnessed to refurbish and knit together their own recreational resources.
The youth in Muhlenberg County don't have the best health statistics. There's a lot of asthma problems, there's a lot of obesity, and one of the reasons is that there's not many things for the kids to do. So we're hoping that if you put a park or some kind of an activity space everywhere the kids turn, they'll get the message that let's get out and let's do something.
If we can get our kids out of the house and involved in an activity, that says it all. You know, they can, you know, do the things with the thumbs on the cell phones or the games, but that's working their hands and not working their bodies. We want to be able to encourage family activity, you know, with a park.
Though the community has been economically depressed over the last few decades, the foundation believes that the Parks and Recreation Plan will help bolster economic growth as well by encouraging businesses to relocate there.
If we're going to attract businesses to Muhlenberg County and create jobs, we need to have something that will entice them to come here, so that when they move their plants here and they hire workers, that those workers have something to do in the evenings and the weekends and when they're not at work.
Yes, Felix Martin gave Muhlenberg County a rare and unexpected gift. But with the guidance of visionary leaders and the commitment of a willing community, that gift will keep giving for generations to come.
I believe in Muhlenberg County because it's my home, and I want it to be the home for my children and my grandchildren. And I want it to grow and prosper. Do I want it to be the next Lexington? No. I just want it to be down home, a great place, but that where we have jobs and people love to be here.
So what we're going to do is we're going to divide into teams. We have...
On a Thursday night in Louisville, residents of the California neighborhood come together for a simple but unusual purpose. They're going to find out just how walkable their neighborhood is. The event was planned by the Department of Public Health and Wellness as part of the city's Healthy Hometown movement.
Well, we've been doing a series of these across the community. What we learned and what the research has shown is that barriers to physical activities in your natural environment will prevent you from physical activity. So we have been working to remove barriers to the physical activities as part of your daily life. Walking is number one among those. The easiest thing to do is get out and walk.
First thing the blue team needs to do is orient this map, or we will be somewhere we don't belong. I've lived here probably about 18 years, so I bought a house across the street from the park and have lived here ever since. What I really like about this neighborhood is the possibilities and the fact that when you want to walk, there's lots of places, there's enough room. I think it's a good idea so that people can spot places where the sidewalks are an issue, and just so that people who might not walk here realize that there's lots of possibilities, there's lots of places that are good to walk around to.
With a specialized survey tool provided by the city, small bands of residents set out to walk specific routes and note impediments to safe walking.
And it's basically a checklist where you look at safety. Is navigable? Are there broken sidewalks? Are there sidewalks? Do you feel safe crossing the street? Are there crosswalks? Are there curb cuts? All of these ideas that we collect will then go into long-range planning efforts. They'll go to TARP, they'll go to Public Works, they'll, go to the different agencies that look at future development and growth so that we can try to eliminate any kind of barriers and make improvements to make them more usable and friendly.
It isn't long before this group discovers some very unfriendly areas and begins to recognize just how important their mission is.
We all live busy lives. We have a lot of stressors, so it doesn't always seem like a sidewalk is a major piece of being productive and changing your health or your community. But once they make that connection, they do get really involved. And we've had people who really get this, who have come out for these walkability assessments and just said, I want to show you this vacant lot. I want to show you this sign across the road. I want to show you this place where there are no ramps. They know. They're walkers. They've picked this stuff up. They understand the importance of it.
Lack of safe sidewalks can have psychological effects as well.
If you can't walk around, it's really hard to build community, because if you're in your house all the time, then how are you going to get to know your neighbors?
When you see graffiti and stuff on the playgrounds, make it so that you see that it's not that safe for your kids to play on the playgrounds, and people don't want to walk on broke up sidewalks or want to be around trash. It makes them feel low. And people just don't want to be around that type of stuff. We want to be positive.
After the walk, the groups debrief together and formulate a wish list. The goals are specific and, most importantly, achievable.
We want the sidewalks to be completed. We were walking, we were having a good little walk, and then we had to walk in the street.
And I think the walkability survey is a great way to sort of take up for ourselves and demand changes in our neighborhood, because we, not only is this a part of who we are, but this is a part of our children's lives, and we're trying to take ownership of what's going on in our lives and our families and our homes. And this is the first step to doing that.
What? Don't hit the Pepsi vision.
In any serious discussion about the sedentary lifestyle of today's children, people always point to video games and electronic devices as a major culprit. Experts warn parents to limit screen time and get their kids outside to play, or risk serious social, cognitive, and health problems. But this is not the first time our society has faced such concerns about a new technology.
Since the first piece of technology was ever developed, whatever that was, there have been calls of, the end of the world is about to come as a result of this new development. People forget that everything's, when we first invented the pencil, that was a technology. When we first invented the book, that was a technology.
As the director of the Kentucky Science and Technology Corporation, Chris Kimmel spends a lot of time thinking about the role of emerging technologies. Kimmel believes that we, as a society, need to understand and harness this new gaming technology, not make futile plans to eliminate its use.
What we're trying to do is embrace that culture, not run away from it, build on it, and find ways of using it, and using this new kind of learning style to, in a sense, market new information, just like a marketing company might market a product.
Many of the newest, most progressive games are alternate reality games like World Without Oil, which involve elaborate storylines, strategic problem solving, and creative collaboration among players, all valuable high-level cognitive skills.
Well, I think with alternate reality gaming, it's so much of it is about the narrative. It's about creating those wormholes to get people to go down into.
Chris and his colleagues, in partnership with the UC Berkeley Center for New Media, are working to develop a new participatory game that not only uses all these skill sets, but actually gets players out into their communities as well. The theme will revolve around health and obesity.
If we do one thing well, it's probably in the innovation area. And so I think as we looked at this problem, in particular a social problem, pretty serious social problem, we try to think, well, we're not in the health business, we're not in the medical business, we're not doctors. What can we do to bring to the table that might in some way impact this problem?
Though still in the early design phases, the game will also be able to gather ideas from people playing the game about what they think will impact these health problems, something known in the industry as harnessing collective intelligence.
On a personal level is the whole collective intelligence piece of it. Why you've got people playing the game, and hopefully by
playing in the game and being in the game, you're in some way, we are in some way, if we're successful, influencing the behaviors and attitudes about health and their own personal health. It's really like asking the customer. I mean, the first thing you learn in marketing is, well, the first thing you have to do is ask the customer. Well, I don't think we've done enough of that probably. If we want to find out how do we get an 18-year-old or a 27-year-old to change their lifestyle, or why is it they're still smoking, or why is it they eat improperly, and what are the incentives, what are the kinds of things that might get them to change their mind about that, we probably need to find out from them to the extent that we can what influences them, what might work for them.
Since this is a pioneering effort, some people may have a difficult time picturing just how this game will work. After all, it's hard to imagine something you haven't seen, but the underlying message of the developers is clear.
One of the things that we feel very strongly about at Kentucky Science Technology Corporation is the role that innovation is playing in today's world, and that to be successful, to be competitive, you have to be an innovative organization or company. In fact, oftentimes we say there are two kinds of organizations in the world, innovative and irrelevant.
Throughout Kentucky, churches are at the heart of community life, and this is especially true in eastern Kentucky.
Churches they're a social gathering place. They're a place where you go to when you're grieving, when there's a funeral. They're a place when you go to when you're happy, when there's a wedding. It's a place that's very social. It's central to the community.
For Faith Moves Mountain staff in Whitesburg, the church community is also an untapped resource for bringing awareness and education to the community about pressing health issues. The program is a research project of the University of Kentucky, but it's administered by people in the community.
How many of you guys go to the fast food restaurants and you say, "Supersize my cola"?
Currently, the group is focusing on the health consequences of the obesity crisis through a program called Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise.
We look at it as a wellness project, and we want people to be well and when we go out and talk to people, we'll say, there are skinny people who are unhealthy. It's not about being fat, it's about being well.
The church community helps out any way it can. This summer, a church van helped transport a group of youth from a summer camp to the local grocery store to learn about nutritional information and the impact of marketing on their decision-making.
What are some techniques that companies use to decorate cereal boxes?
They put animals on them. Because like the Frosted Flakes, they had a tiger on it.
Okay, they use...
I don't know, I just love to see our children healthy because, I would love to see them to live longer, and here now we see a lot of diabetes and things, and that is something that's curable that we don't have to have.
The Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise program emphasizes energy balance, the ratio between calories in and calories out, and tries to keep kids moving in novel ways like a human rock, paper, scissors game or an obstacle course.
It's wonderful to have Faith Moves Mountains because, without them, there's no one here that's really mentioning our unhealthiness or that we have a health issue. So with them, it's kind of like you're looking at the problem now. It's like, wow, we do have the problems.
Because of Faith Moves Mountains, the church community has begun to see its role in addressing health issues more clearly. As a respected source of information, a church sends a message on this health issue not only by its own policies and actions, but by work its members take on in the larger community.
If this community struggles with overweight issues or health issues, and the churches collectively see that that's a problem, and they are expressing that to their members, there's going to be a source of camaraderie, support. And by bringing the problems to a front where it's no longer, set behind the door, we're open to talk whatever the issues are. I know that we can make an impact.
Faith Moves Mountains, it was having the faith to be in these mountains, to be of these mountains, and to step out into the limelight just a little bit to show people that there needs to be changes made, but it has to come from here out, not from the outside can't bring it into us.
This program was funded in part by a generous contribution from the Foundation for a Healthy Kentucky.